So you're Dennis right now. Eileen's me right now, so.
I'll call this meeting of the executive committee to order. This meeting was posted by the clerk's office in accordance with the appropriate rules. We're all here and we'll rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our first item is a consent agenda. Just the minutes from our last meeting. I look for a motion and a second. Motion by Supervisor Mary, second by Supervisor Schulteis. Any discussion, questions? Not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimously. Discussion items, we'll start with budget policy and analytics quarterly report.
Everybody. So just quickly on all of the EOS quarterly reports here. This is our second round of reporting. So everybody did their first round of quarterly reports, introduced all of their initiatives. This second round is going to be a little bit even more brief, right? So now you've got that background. So really they're going to, describe the accomplishments, describe any major changes since the last time, prep you about your role in the process, but otherwise these should be even more brief than the last time. So again, 5-10 minutes tops. So moving into mine, my quarterly report for BPA, the first two initiatives, our work continues as planned on those. We're just kind of moving on track through those. Our third initiative is on enhancing sort of our knowledge base and our usage with some of our payroll systems. We've set up and tested a process for essentially implementing out-of-state employees. It's just to allow us to prep for a remote workforce, things like that. So that testing is done. It's complete. The remainder of the goals in that initiative are on track. So we're continuing to move through that initiative as well. The fourth initiative is on track as well. The final initiative in the packet I wanted to just touch on, which is the initiative for the compensation plan. So there were goals for updating and refreshing the calculations. And then there was another goal for essentially introducing some automation into the process. Those have been completed and achieved. You'll hear more about the results of that refresh as we start talking about implementing and funding any potential changes. So that'll be a future meeting, but those two goals have been achieved and we're moving through the third goal as planned. So happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, that's all I had for an update. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Our next item is the treasurer's quarterly report.
So brief is brief. No, I'm kidding. The initiative, one of them is completed, the integration of the credit card system. And we found that some of our largest providers for mortgages have went to e-checks. So they're not even cutting checks anymore. They're just sending an ACH and paying for taxes that way. With the integration, we don't have to. All we have to do is approve the ACH, and it cuts down a great amount of time in our office. The one initiative, so that initiative is complete. It's been working great. The other initiative that is just getting on its way after all of the prelim things that have taken place, the award was made to US Imaging, and they have picked up all of the microfiche. So all of the tax rolls from 1999 through the year 2008, I believe it is, are being scanned right now. And then they'll come back the 1st of November. and start the next process, which is scanning the documents in the vault down here. Those should be done by the 18th of November. And then it's just a matter of enhancing those images and then getting them back to us so that we can import them into the system. And hopefully by, I'm thinking first quarter of 2023, we should have all of the images from 1840 something forward online for everybody to see. So I don't have to look up any more tax rolls in the vault for a Lennox rebate, because prove that you were in your home in 1974 or whatever it is. So all of those things together should be complete, hopefully by year end and hopefully by the first quarter. And then we'll work on some new initiatives. So that's all I have, unless there's questions.
Anyone?
I just assume a lot of this is just plain tedious manual work. Is that correct?
Yeah, they have to take those books apart and then scan them in and then put them back together. And then historically, we'll put them back on the shelf the way they are. Microfiche, I don't know exactly the process, but we did have 2 sets. So we have a set here in case we need to use them while they're scanning, and then they took the other set and are scanning those. So yeah, very tedious. And they'll do 24/7, 365. So they'll be here for a while. All right. Thank you.
Next item is the City of Hartford proposal utilizing County Brownfield Assessment Fund.
Hello. The first request is for the City of Hartford. The SRC on October 13th unanimously approved $25,600 for the City of Hartford Centennial Park. They had received a stewardship grant and started doing some redevelopment work on their wall and discovered that the site was contaminated. So they've been working with Stantec Consulting Services and need some additional testing done. The total amount is $32,000. The City of Hartford will contribute the 20% of $6,400. So the SRC fund request is for the $25,600. The one thing I did want to point out, if you're looking through the packet on the redevelopment site screening checklist, there was an error with the printing, and all of those circles should be yes, as well as the next page should also be yes. So it meets all the requirements.
Questions or discussion?
Kind of a ticky-tacky one, but when you say you're gonna monitor wells up to 15 feet, is that below grade? What is BGS?
Yeah, that's below grade.
It's below grade? What does the S stands for? Surface?
So yeah,
grade
below surface.
Okay.
Question.
I know. Yeah, usually it's BFG, below finished grade, I guess, is what I'm used to seeing, so. And then we don't have any idea of, obviously, we gotta do the testing. Are they expecting this to be a big cleanup problem or?
Based on the preliminary testing that they did do, they are anticipating that this is going to be a big cleanup, and it could potentially utilize the county or most likely the US EPA revolving loan fund for some of the cleanup costs.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Other questions? Need a thumbs up? General consensus on this? Good. All good.
Awesome.
Thank you. You want to roll right into the Village of Jackson proposal?
I will. All right. So Vanderwall and Associates has been assisting the Village of Jackson and the county on the next generation housing pilot. Attachment A goes through the work that they've completed. And that's going to be wrapping up at the end of October. Attachment B is the proposal for additional work that Vanderwall will be doing, assisting the county and Jackson on the pilot. including with some zoning amendments and to align their zoning ordinance with next generation housing. Attend project management team meetings, pre-construction meetings, as well as working with the county and the village in financing strategies. The proposal is for 17,000. We are requesting 19,000, just in anticipation of some extra meetings that may happen.
I know I'm talking with the attorney's office. They were in question as to what this contract was because it didn't match up with anything they had. And then when we were meeting the end of the last contract. It's the end of
This will be a new
October,
contract.
so it's-
Yep.
It's just a rollover, so. Questions?
All right, thank you.
We have consensus?
Yes, we do.
Thank you.
Our first action item is 2020 resolution requiring the yearly budget progress report on the anti-crime plan. I recall we discussed this at length last month. So this is just officially making a resolution, so. We have a motion in a second. You get that, Supervisor Shadron and Supervisor Bossert? Any further discussion? Having none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good. Next item is ordinance to amend sections 40-2, 40-3, 40-5 relating to ethical principles, definitions, and the process for obtaining advisory opinion reading relating to potential conflict of interest or breach.
Moved over here so you don't have to all turn around and crane your necks and all that kind of thing. Did you make a motion?
I guess we look for motion in a second. Get that motion by Supervisor Mary, second by Supervisor Schultheis.
Okay, thank you. So what you have before you here this afternoon is a proposed change to our ethics code recommended by the County Ethics Committee that met some weeks ago. Essentially, the motivation for this particular change was the incident involving former Supervisor Mahalik. As you recall, in that particular situation, he had brought a firearm into the sheriff's office, and as a result of that, was in breach of our code of ethics. We brought outside counsel in to assist us. I didn't feel I could handle that particular case, given my role in relation to the matter. Outside counsel worked with Supervisor Mahalik's attorney. Ultimately, Supervisor Mahalik resigned from the board. But one of the things that our outside counsel, Attorney Andrew Phillips, who also is counsel for the Counties Association, recommended was that we really put a definition for what misconduct is in the code, although he felt that he could connect the dots in terms of Mr. Mahalik's case and conduct. He would like to have seen something a little more black and white in the code. We took that information to the ethics committee, and the ethics committee worked on crafting what they felt was a reasonable definition of the term misconduct. This also would require, by the way, you'll see another change that would require supervisors who have been convicted or accused of a crime or a violation of this code potentially to self-report that, so that the board is aware, or authorities within the county are aware in the event any action might need to be taken. So that's what this is all about. And so I'm happy to answer any questions I can.
Questions?
So when you say shall,
Mhm.
you're talking about the individual who breached the code. They're the ones who shall go mention something. Is that what you're talking about there?
There's, in that particular provision, and unfortunately, the way these changes are made to the code, you don't see the whole paragraph in front of you. This should referred that we should do certain things. We should report certain things. This makes it a requirement that if there's a breach of the ethics code, either that you've committed potentially, or you've seen someone else commit, you have to come forward and report that. That's very common in our profession as attorneys. If we are aware of misconduct, you have to report what you've seen that another attorney has committed, or even self-report. Now, that doesn't mean that because you've self-reported or someone's reported on you that you're in violation of the code or that there are consequences or discipline coming, but at least it puts it on the radar in the event something has to occur or needs to be investigated. And before, it was not required, and that was one of the concerns, that there was a gap in the code.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you. My pleasure.
Our next meeting is November